After playing for GABBA for almost 20 years, and for my club for 25 years, I think it was time to obviously stop playing, focus a bit more on the coaching side at club level. Basically, I think I reached the age of 40. I had played for many years. Obviously, the body doesn't work or function as it used to before. Obviously, the aches and pains and niggling injuries was one of the things that I thought that it was a good time to really stop the game, to stop playing. I had the privilege of representing Gibraltar at this year's Island Games, where we achieved bronze medal, a good result. So there I thought it was time. I was turning 40, so it was a time to hang it up.
I'm 40 years old, that's not old.
Well, it's not young either.
So you say you reached national team level, you played the Island Games. Tell me a bit more about where you started, what got you into basketball for starters.
I think it's a family thing. Obviously my brother was heavily involved my brother Jonathan was heavily involved in basketball. When I was growing up, he's 8 years my senior to me, so I used to come here down at Lamport back in the day, and watch him play. That got me hooked into basketball, and he was kind of my personal coach at home, and showing me fundamental drills, left hand, right hand, stuff like that. That got me hooked into the game. And then when I was 7 or 8 years old, Angelin created the Royal Carpe team, was called, which was basically a group of friends, and that got me encouraged to carry on. That gave me a sense of training. At the same time, it's a family atmosphere, so that got me hooked in. I kept training, and at the age of 14, 15, the team was a bit getting dismantled, because Angelin obviously took us to where he knew, commitment, he showed us the fundamentals, but then he wanted us to go obviously on another path, and that's where I joined Bayside, and I played for Bayside since 15 till this past season. I started in Bayside. I was obviously one of the junior players on the team, and that gave me my foundation in basketball. I had two great coaches there, one's the late Cecil Sands, and the other one was Kenneth Sayers. Both of them teachers, ex-teachers, and I think that they had a way of coaching, and the team was extremely a close-knit family team, which obviously, which I was telling you earlier, it was a group of young players, but also nurtured by some of the senior players that at the time were at the pinnacle of playing for GABBA at the time, which was Jason Patron, my brother Jonathan, Ed Cavocarisa, players that got me under their wing and showed us, and were always willing for us to improve. And at a club level, I'm giving back, and I will always give back, because Bayside was extremely good to me. I think they developed me as a player, but having the likes of Cecil Sands, of Kenneth Sayers, of Paul Lyon, Danny Gabai, people like this around me when I was young, helped me become the person that I became, or that I've become. I think it's as that important it is for individuals and sports. For example, and having the right people around you, and it helped me. At GABBA's level, that's their criteria of who they have to coach the teams. Whether, I think they have their own recruitment policy. Some might agree or disagree, but that's they have the people I think they see fit for those age groups. I think there are many people that would enjoy coming back and maybe showing what they've learned, and hopefully encourage those younger generations to continue. whether it's on an open court basis or like maybe on Saturday mornings, but that's really the junior side. Kids, I think they are in early teens or maybe 10-year-old. And at GABBA level for the selections, I think there are many people that are not involved with the game that could definitely help what the coaches that are around now. You look around at least in the men's side, which I'm more familiar with, and I don't think none of the players have played for GABBA probably. Not that a good player makes a good coach. I'm not going down that avenue, and I'm not taking a dig at the association. They have their own recruitment policy, as I say. But obviously, I think it would encourage the players there so that they can relate as a player level, even if it's a coach, they can relate to experiences that previous players have had, which I don't think at the moment that can happen. I think that I think they're on the right track to close that gap, and it's like in the last 6 or 7 years, and that's partly thanks to, I believe, Randy Hefner as technical director, and I think Adam Casaglia has now taken it to another level, a level that we didn't have as many teams that are involved now, many kids are involved now at club level. And that is going to, in the long run, it cannot be filled in the next year or two. But now they have, it started with an under-18 league, then it went through to having an under-18, under-14, under-16 followed, then it's under-12, under-13. So there has been a progression made in the last couple of years, and this I think will have its fruit and see the advantages of the work he's putting in now in 4 or 5 years down the line. I think it's expanding a bit now. I think during the last couple of years we've had 5 senior teams in the first division, and hopefully that would increase during the next couple of years. One thing that would definitely improve the structure and the commitment would be people affiliating to junior teams. I think that has to be a must, as GABBA is now at club levels and the way they want to push the game forward. Right now I think it's Valma, Blue Stars and Bayside, the only teams that are affiliated to junior teams. I don't know how, obviously in football you have the money that's coming in because of the junior teams that clubs might have. That won't be the reason behind basketball teams being affiliated to junior teams. So I don't know if they can be made compulsory that they have to affiliate themselves to junior teams, but I think there should be something in place for them, maybe not on the 5 junior leagues, but maybe an under-18 team, for example, or an under-15 team. I think that there has to be a way that they affiliate themselves to the junior teams for what you were saying earlier, and close the gap. If you have a senior team but no junior teams, then at the end of the day, how are you going to recruit the players? Is it we're going to go across the board and start bringing players from there because it's easier? Or are you going to nurture the kids coming down and have their incentive that an under 15, under 16, under 18, they can look to play in the first division and obviously help them get into GABBA? I think it's important to have a mixture of players coming from Spain mixed with local players. There's a high level of basketball in Spain. So that ultimately is going to help the local players here constantly playing at the highest level possible. We need a balance. Obviously we need a balance. We cannot have a team maybe with 8 players coming from abroad and 2 locals. That's not going to be beneficial in the long run, either for the league, because they're going to leave whenever they have the opportunity of playing in the local team in Spain, and even worse for our GABBA selections. Those players are not going to be eligible to play and represent Gibraltar, so I think it's having the right mix.
Football has implemented what they call the homegrown player policy. Started off just one player, now they've got 4 players on the field. We took the proportions, right? Would you implement something like that at the senior level?
Definitely, I don't see why not. Yeah, and I think in turn that would encourage teams. What we were talking about earlier, they would encourage teams to affiliate themselves with junior teams, because right now if you're struggling to fit a team or to fit a team of a high standard, it's easier to go across the border and fill your team with, no disrespect, with Spanish nationals. We've also always had the criterion Bayside of having a balance. Whether we're playing with Spanish players, it's a minimum. We want to remain as local as possible, but also be as competitive as possible. Having our junior players participating, and I mean participating by playing, not sitting on the bench. You know, playing good ample minutes, learning from the experience, having the experienced local players, and if need be, you need 2 or 3 to fill in, then well and good. So yeah, I think it's a great idea to have a homegrown player combination in basketball as well. Speaking to one of the ex-Bayside players that's come from the UK, he's obviously past his playing days as well. He said in the community he used to play, there was a senior league or veterans league that it was basically, obviously they didn't get the best allocation available. I think they got a weekday at 10 p.m. or something like that they used to go in and just play pick-up basketball, which is you 5 over there, you 5 over here. So yeah, that would be obviously encouraging, because it's a form of training with a sport that I've always enjoyed. Having senior, I'm not going to discriminate anybody by age. Everybody calls it quits whenever they want. But having players at a senior, into the senior or physical ability, whatever, because of their age, isn't necessarily helping the league progress and become more competitive. So maybe they would find that easier to step back, because they can play basketball elsewhere, and maybe that void could be filled in with youth basketball coming from the bottom, which I think there are some kids of a very good ability that unfortunately are not finding minutes in the clubs they are playing for now, which they would if some people obviously step back.
What's better, then or now?
I think the individual skill and the individual abilities was better then. Obviously, because it was patio. It was a street ball basketball, like they call it. You got the ball and you played between friends, so you try to imitate superstars, so you develop your own skills. The structure there are to training now is, or should be, better now, because obviously we have the centenary, which is available many hours a day to basketball teams, so it's more structured. But at the end of the day, if you're training 2 times a week or 3 times a week as a team, and the coach obviously is planning for the weekend game, for example, and they're going on defense or some offense drills or systems that they want to run, obviously that takes away time from you dribbling the ball, you having the ball in your hands, which at certain ages, that's the most important thing, and that's what we used to have in Lamport. I remember going home after school and doing my homework as quickly as I could, having something to eat, and going there till obviously I couldn't see anymore with a couple of friends, and then having to go back home, and again tomorrow again the same deal. All sports people, and myself included, a culprit of this, and sometimes I think it's the obligation, or think we have an obligation to win. I think maybe in all sports you're planning, like I said before, to how I'm gonna be successful in this weekend's game, rather than developing the individual. I think on the long run, if you develop the individual, when it comes to at a senior level, then I'm gonna have a better team. But that might not be necessarily the case for me to win at under 12 level this coming Saturday. I think kids now, they won't know what Lampard is, obviously, or whatever. So for them it's fun. If they're coming here and they're coming regularly and they return, then it's fun for them. I think it's detrimental to their own development as individuals. It's more the fact than fun. For me, I enjoyed playing Lampard, and maybe on Tuesday and Thursday I had structured training sessions with my team, so I enjoyed both as much. It wasn't that I enjoyed one more than the other, but I think the level of individuals was better then than what it is now, although team concept might be better now. Luckily, I've had quite a few. At club level, I've enjoyed every league that Bayside has won exactly the same. Either when I was 16 or 17, which I think I won the first one, till 2 seasons ago that I won the last one. Locally, it's every time that we could prove that we could win with our own unique style, and having, like I said before, the implementation of youth kids with a mixture of veterans. I think that's, and keeping focus on that, I think that's been important for us. Hopefully it's as important in the future as well. And playing for GABBA, I've won three bronze medals and a silver, which obviously that's it's a very proud moment as well. Every time you represent Gibraltar, an international event, and you come back with something to show for all the hard work. That and the first league that we won as GABBA Fosters was called at that time, and we got accepted to play in the Cadiz League. For me, that was obviously, as a Gibraltarian, that was obviously a very proud moment to go to Spain and be proud champion, even if it's of a provincial area, but it's still a proud moment for any Gibraltarian to represent GABBA in Spain and come back winning the league. We were never in doubt, because in Gibraltar, one thing that you have is that people, not necessarily only basketball people, would come and watch basketball, or football would go and watch the football when the GFA play. We've got such an amazing turnout in any sporting event, whether, I don't know, you're around more than me, but whether it's in netball or basketball or football. And for us, it was never a doubt that the stadium was going to be packed for the games. Once you're there and you're playing and you're looking up, it's the best feeling, really. It's what really you train during the whole course of the year to have that opportunity to play in front of your relatives, your friends, and everybody that's coming along. That was one of the main reasons, I think, and a good friend of mine, Aidan Turner, who was the most senior player apart from me, obviously, that pushed us and motivated us to get to that tournament. We could have called it quits maybe a year before, 2 years before, because obviously the kids coming up that are pushing you all the way, but having the opportunity to finish off in the Island Games in Gibraltar was a proud moment. I wouldn't change it for anything, really.